Bryan Danielson, known to WWE fans as Daniel Bryan, is set to make his AEW debut reportedly at this Sunday's AEW All Out pay-per-view, which you can buy for just $19.99 using our Fight affiliate link. Now that Bryan has crossed the line and become All Elite, it opens up a world of possibilities. He's expressed an interest in working in Mexico again and reportedly left WWE to allow him to work matches in New Japan Pro-Wrestling, both of which are a possibility under an AEW contract. So as we enter the final countdown to AEW All Out, let's look at 10 Bryan Danielson Dream Matches in AEW and beyond. For the first entry, let's burst through the Forbidden Door where we meet the successor to Bryan Danielson's technical wrestling throne, ZACK SABRE Jr. ZACK's wrestling style involves a series of holds and submissions similar to Bryan's pre-WWE run. Bryan won the Wrestling Observer's Best Technical Wrestler award 9 times in a row between the years of 2005 and 2013. This was before it was renamed the Bryan Danielson Award after his retirement in 2016. ZACK SABRE Jr., on the other hand, has won the award 7 times in a row from 2014 to 2020, tipping his predecessor to the post. The match between the two would be a masterclass and would showcase both men's in-ring strengths to the fullest. Both men would be motivated to prove themselves as the greatest technician in the world, and they each have one win over the other in 2008 and 2009 respectively. I think it's time for the rubber match, either in New Japan or AEW. The Bastard Pac has proved to be a dominant wrestler in AEW, and although he has not won any gold, his matches have been hailed as some of the best in company history. AEW have put a lot of trust in him, and he was the first man to defeat Kenny Omega in the new promotion. His Iron Man match with Omega in February 2020 was a candidate for AEW's Match of the Year. Since joining the company, Pac has been somewhat of a tweener, switching between heel and babyface depending on his situation, although his aggressive personality hasn't taken a hit. He has switched to a more grounded style of wrestling compared to the high-flying approach that he's famous for. His new wrestling tactics would result in an interesting matchup between Bryan and Pac, although bursts of high-flying offense could be the difference maker. Andrade El Idolo is one of AEW's newest signings, joining the promotion in early June of this year. He impressed fans with his in-ring work during his time in WWE and more specifically NXT, where he was presented as a real star. In AEW, he has begun a feud with the Death Triangle while being managed by Chavo Guerrero and has maintained his tranquilo attitude, playing the part of a cocky and rich individual with a quest to recruit the Lucha Brothers. Although signed to AEW, he is allowed to wrestle in AAA, most recently challenging Kenny Omega for the AAA Mega Championship at Triple Mania, accompanied by his soon-to-be father-in-law Ric Flair. Andrade is currently being pushed as a mid-carder due to the abundance of main event talent on the roster, but he no doubt has all the ability in the world, and a match with Danielson could take him to the next level. Will Ospreay has cemented himself as the top gaijin in New Japan Pro-Wrestling today, having gone through quite a transformation over the years. He currently lays claim to be the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion despite the title being vacated following injury, with him now defending his own version of the belt in the States. Although he made a name for himself with his fast-paced, high-flying style, Ospreay has been incorporating more ground-based moves into his arsenal ever since moving to the heavyweight division. With Bryan being one of the best technicians in the world, the match would offer a great chance for Ospreay to further develop his evolution. It has been reported that Bryan really wants to work with Ospreay and is rumored to be one of the reasons that Bryan pushed for WWE to do a deal with New Japan. This is not surprising as the Brit is regarded as one of the best in the world right now. One of AAA's biggest stars, Psycho Clown, has main evented several Triple Manias and is super over with the Mexican audience. So much so that it has been reported that Psycho will be the one to dethrone Kenny Omega as AAA Mega Champion. Bryan Danielson is on record as saying he wants to work matches in Mexico, even growing his hair out at one point in order to put it on the line in a hair versus mask match. Betting matches draw big in Mexico, and if Psycho Clown wins the AAA Mega title, it could add even more weight to a mask versus hair match with the Clown. The bout would most likely happen in AAA and would be another tick on Bryan Danielson's bucket list. Often regarded as one of, if not the best wrestler in the world today, KAZUCHIKA Okada has made a name for himself as a main eventer who can put on incredible matches. His feud with Kenny Omega saw some of the best bouts in modern day history, showing elements of storytelling beyond anything else in the business. A candidate in almost any dream match list, Okada has the ability to put on memorable performances, and a match against someone as skilled as Bryan has the potential to be an instant classic. Bryan wants to work in Japan, and it's one of the reasons he left WWE in the first place, and it's likely we'll see the American Dragon cross the Pacific a lot in the coming years, and it's hard to find a bigger star than Kazuchika Okada. The current IWGP Heavyweight Champion Shingo Takagi would be a logical target for Bryan to pursue if he was to work in New Japan. There is no bigger prize in the promotion, and both wrestlers have a history in Dragon Gate, and a Danielson title match has the potential to be a blockbuster main event, drawing not only fans from America and Japan, but from around the world. Putting the title on Bryan would be an interesting decision, and it's not too unrealistic. Jon Moxley and Lance Archer have held the IWGP US heavyweight title while being signed with AEW. Letting an AEW star win New Japan's top prize would completely shatter the forbidden door, and it would allow for some highly entertaining matches. We could see wrestlers from both AEW and New Japan challenge Bryan for the title, with Danielson carrying the New Japan torch as they continue their global expansion. And speaking of the Forbidden Door, why not let another promotion through while allowing Bryan Danielson to make his Ring of Honor return to go one-on-one with Bandido, the reigning ROH champion. Not only does Bandido have a long history with AEW, having main evented the All In pay-per-view, but he is also considered one of the best luchadors in the world, and perhaps the hottest talent outside of the top 3 promotions. Known as one of the founding fathers of Ring of Honor, Bryan has a lot of history with the promotion, having main evented its first ever event. The match could help put Ring of Honor back on the map, a company that has struggled to regain the standing it once had in the industry. Tony Khan has been open about helping other promotions rise to create a healthier industry, and if Bryan were to win the title, he could defend it on AEW television, enabling Ring of Honor to gain more attention and to build a bigger fan base. Giving Bryan the ROH title would also allow him to be booked as a top star, adding in a built-in excuse to keep him away from the AEW champion Kenny Omega, at least for now. And quickly, just before we continue, make sure you drop a like on the video as it helps me out a lot, and make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss any upcoming wrestling content as we head hopefully towards 100,000 subscribers. But now, let's press play on the video. Kenny Omega has cemented himself as one of the best wrestlers in the world today, incorporating a fast-paced, energetic style with aggressive striking offense, and he has proven himself to be a natural in the ring. Omega has already had classics with several members of the AEW roster, and with the arrival of new talents such as CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, fans are excited to see Kenny battle with 2 of the best in the world. Kenny has proven to work well when facing a more technical style of wrestling, and a match with Bryan could turn out to be a clash of styles. Bryan's technical prowess clashing with Kenny's explosive offense, not to mention that the 2 men are 2 of the best storytellers in the business. No matter where or when the match takes place, it has the potential to be a big draw and an even more entertaining match. AEW's newest signing, CM Punk, was the hottest free agent in the wrestling world for the past 7 years. Despite stating he has no plans to return to wrestling, fans were still adamant to see him make a comeback. On August 20th, 2021, their prayers were answered, and the unthinkable happened when Punk walked out in the United Center in one of the most memorable moments in modern wrestling history. He's back and wants to work with the best AEW has to offer, and who better than Danielson? 2 of the biggest names to come out of Ring of Honor, Punk and Bryan have met each other across the ring multiple times throughout their career, both in and out of WWE. However, the situation now is unlike anything before. Punk left WWE while Bryan was gaining steam with the Yes movement, and the 2 never wrestled each other after Bryan's rise to the top. Since then, both of them retired, Punk on his own terms and Bryan due to injury, but now both have returned against all odds. Going back 4 years, nobody could have dreamt up this situation where Bryan and Punk would be back in wrestling for a non-WWE national promotion on TNT, and I think it's time for Danielson versus Punk for one last dance. And before you go, make sure you check out my video where I discuss the 10 hottest free agents in wrestling today.